been developed by state and provincial agencies in association with the Agency for Instructional Television. Together, serving education.
What's up?
I'm entering this contest. I have to write why I like Vitacheck's breakfast cereal in 25 words or less.
Why don't you check some examples? I won a prize with this one last year.
Why my pet likes dog yummies in 25 words or less.
See, you can use my prize-winning essay as an example, a guide to give you some ideas in composing your essay.
Sure, I get it. In fact, I have a friend who wrote Why I Like Johnson's Weed Control in 25 words or less last year. I could look that over, too.
There's 2 examples of 25 words or less type essays. That should help you out a lot.
I'm starting to get an idea right now. In fact, I like Vitacheck's breakfast cereal because it gives my dog a healthy, shiny coat and helps control weeds 7 different ways.
Well, that's almost the right idea. Examples can help you when you're writing speeches, essays, even letters. However, the idea is not to copy the work of others, but to use what others have done to give you a sort of guide. If, for example, you wanted to write a limerick and you weren't sure what a limerick was, it would be useful to check some examples.
I raised a great hullabaloo when I found a big mouse in my stew. Said the waiter don't shout and wave it about, or the rest will be wanting one too.
Here's another one.
There once was a woman from Flynn who was so exceedingly thin. When she essayed to drink lemonade, she slipped through the straw and fell in.
Now, just by looking at these examples, you can tell a lot. The first, second, and fifth lines of a limerick rhyme with each other, and the third and fourth rhyme with one another. You see, by using examples, we are able to get an idea of how a limerick looks, how it sounds, and how it's organized. Now, say you were writing something like a play. Maybe it's a play for Founders' Day, you know, a holiday that celebrates the founding of your town or city. Here's Ricky busily writing something. I'll give you 2 guesses what it is, and the first one doesn't count.
It's a play. It's for Founders' Day.
Perfect. Have you ever written a play before?
No, believe it or not.
When you started writing this one, did you look at some examples? Well, you know, to see how they looked?
Nope, just wrote it. Ah, finished. See?
This doesn't look like any play I've ever seen.
Who cares what it looks like?
Okay, let's start from the top. Scott, you're the city founder. Harrison Bosworth, and Jeff, you're General Fisher, and Sally, you're the messenger. I'll be Princess Noana later on. Okay, action.
Listen up, you guys. This is a perfect place for our new town.
You're right. This is a far-out valley, for sure.
Hold it. Ricky, somehow I don't get the feeling we're in 1850. The dialogue isn't right.
Yeah, it's too modern. In fact, this sounds like the lines from Bikers from Outer Space. Did you see that on TV?
Yeah, that was great. I was just wondering if you saw it.
I didn't like
or
the
not.
stars in that. That was...
No, it was
nobody...
Just do the lines and trust me. I wonder if Neil Simon has these problems.
Probably not. Okay, let's take it from your line, Scott.
Okay. This is a far-out valley, for sure. But I don't think the settlers will go for it. Hey, listen. I think I hear a messenger.
Comes in out of breath.
No, you don't say coming out of breath. That's what you do.
All of this is kind of confusing. Comes in out of breath. No, I did it again. I have a message.
Barking dogs.
No, you don't say barking dogs. That's a sound effect.
Oops. Sorry about that.
Actually, this is pretty confusing the way you've written it. It's hard to tell. Shouldn't stage directions and sound effects be put to the side from the dialogue?
What's all this hey, far out stuff in the speeches? Makes Harrison Bosworth sound like a biker from outer space.
Look, give me a break. I'm still growing. I don't have a lot of life experiences. This is my first play, and maybe it's my last. Thank you very much.
Well, one thing is for sure, Ricky has a flair for dramatics. Did you notice his exit line? Now, because this was his first play, maybe he should have taken a look at some examples of other plays to guide his own writing. By using good examples, he can ask himself some key questions. First, how does it look? That is, what's the form? Now, in the case of a play, how are sound effects or stage directions separated from dialogue? Secondly, how does it sound? What kind of words are used? The language in Ricky's play did seem a little too modern. Maybe it would have helped to see how other playwrights handle that problem. And finally, how is it organized? In the case of a play, would you put the biggest, most important scene first, or would you build up to it? Now, you don't have to be writing a play to use examples. You could use examples if you were writing a letter. Say you read something, an article about teenagers causing all sorts of trouble in town. I mean, this article implies that if you're a teenager, you are automatically going to cause all sorts of trouble. Well, if you were a teenager, which you are, you might go to the library.
Let's see, letters. World news, local news, comics, classified ads, editorials, letters.
Howdy, darling.
Hi, Scott.
You seen Ricky?
No.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm just looking over some recent letters to the editor.
What for?
Because I'm going to write this paper a letter.
Oh, let me see it. Dear editor, I was really ticked off about your article that said teenagers can't control themselves. For 2 cents, I'd come right down there and punch you in the nose. It's a little hostile.
I realized that right after I wrote it.
Not to mention self-defeating.
So I'm looking at some recent letters to the editor written by people who are really mad about something. I found a really good one. I'm going to use it as an example.
An example?
Well, yeah, I really like the way she organized it. She always referred to the article by the name and the date in which it appeared in the paper.
Good idea. At least people will know exactly what you're talking about.
Right, but the most effective thing she did was use a comparison.
A comparison?
Well, yeah, it really helped to drive her point home. I thought up a little comparison myself. Tell me what you think. Your editorial, which appeared on August 4th, implied that all teenagers cause trouble. This is stereotyping. Stereotyping somebody because of their age is just the same as stereotyping somebody because of their race or religion.
Good point. And it's also better than the last one, you know, about punching the guy in the nose.
Well, I'm not that tough anyway.
Well, how long is your letter going to be?
About 200 words. I noticed that most of the letters printed to the editor were about that length.
So, in other words, you checked out some examples and asked yourself, how does it look? How does it sound? And how is it organized?
Yeah, Scott. That's what I did all right.
Hi, Rick. You had the right idea about the play. Why don't you check out some examples and see if they can help you with your problems?
Well, maybe I could check out some plays. I could ask myself, how does it look? How does it sound? And how is it organized?
Gosh, what a great idea. How'd you think of it?
I don't know. It just came to me.
That happens sometimes.
Well, it does happen sometimes. Maybe not just that way, though. Now, so far, we've been talking about firsts. Ricky is writing his first play. Darlene is writing her first letter to the editor. But even people who aren't involved in firsts need to look over examples and ask themselves these same questions.
Than the July 30th, I believe, that was suggested by Mr. Mask.
Lawyers are continually faced with complex legal issues in court.
Refresh your recollection as to whether or not you told that to the police.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the Assistant District Attorney's reference to this transcript since there's no foundation laid.
Records are kept of all these cases. This means that a lawyer can go to the law library and look up cases that may be like the one that he or she is working on. In other words, use previous trials as examples for a current case. Tom May is a trial lawyer.
When I prepare a case involving a contract, usually I would say 8 times out of 10, there are other courts that have decided similar cases. So what you do is you go to the library and you look up other cases that support your case. In other words, the courts have published decisions in the library involving certain facts, and the courts have decided how it should rule under those set of facts. So you want to find a case that is similar to your case with a ruling that is in your favor. And once you find that ruling that is in your favor, you're pretty sure that you're going to be in a good position when you do go into court.
So you see, even people who have done it before find it useful to look over examples. Anyone can be helped by a guide. And that's exactly what you have when you use existing work as examples. Speaking of examples as guides, I wonder if Ricky's had enough time to come up with any examples.
Sure have. I went to the library and checked out some plays and looked them over. I found the usual form for separating things like stage direction and sound effects from speeches.
I can tell by the look of this, it's going to make things easier. See? Everything used to be all mixed up together. Now speeches are in the center, stage directions run all the way across, and sound effects are put to the side and capitalized.
I also checked out this book.
What does that have to do with Founders Day?
Nothing really, except that it was written over 100 years ago. By reading it, I kind of got a feel for the language.
Yeah, nobody back then said anything like far out or for sure.
So you threw out your old script and rewrote it after you looked over some examples.
I rewrote it all right, but I didn't throw out the old one.
No, after Founders Day, we're going to do a new play. Harrison Bosworth meets teenage bikers from outer space.
Listen, you guys, this place is perfect for our new town.
Like, this is a far out valley for sure, but I don't think the other guys could go for it.
Barking dogs.
Barking dogs indeed. And if Ricky has any trouble with Harrison Bosworth meets the bikers from outer space, it might help to do just what he did with the Founders Day script. Check out some examples. How does it look? Sometimes things like scripts, poems, even essays or book reports have a certain look, a form that's followed. How does it sound? What kinds of words are used? Is the language formal sounding or is it more casual? And how is it organized? How are the ideas put together? Maybe someday you'll be able to write something that someone else will be able to use as an example. It's possible.
This series was produced by the Tom Everhart Company through the facilities of KRMA and KOCE-TV under the supervision of the Agency for Instructional Television.